Understanding the Bible, the Holy Scriptures, aka the Tanakh, the Torah, the Gospels, through the complete works of Josephus Flavius. So we start from the introduction. Unlike reporters who are supposed to remain detached from their subject, or historians who usually describe events that happened years if not centuries before they were born, Josephus Flavius was an active participant in many of the amazing events about which he wrote. The unique perspective and unparalleled history content of his writings are a vital part of any scholar's library. This new edition, with an easy-to-read typeface, is the perfect way to add Josephus to your library. In addition, the inclusion of the Loeb numbering system, which references the equivalent passages in the original Greek text, make it convenient to compare William Whiston's classic translation to the original text. Born Josephus ben Matthias into a family of priests, he became a priest himself, meaning he would have been of the tribe of Levi. As a young man, he had spent time with an Essene sect before becoming a Pharisee at age 19. Impressed by the undefeatable power of Rome, he discouraged the growing Jewish rebellion to no avail. Finally, he was swept up in the rebellion and was appointed as the commander of Galilee. Galilee is where Nazareth is. When Jerusalem was destroyed, he was taken as a prisoner to Rome. His life was spared because he predicted that Vespasian would become Roman emperor. When his prediction came true 2 years later, Josephus was released and he adopted the family name of the emperor Flavius in AD 70 Common Era. He marched with Vespasian's son Titus on Jerusalem, which rendered him an unforgivable traitor in the eyes of some of his people. Afterwards, he retired to Rome, became a Roman citizen, and spent his days writing about his life and exploits. Josephus also began to write about his history, the history of the Jews, perhaps as an explanation of the Jews for the Romans, and perhaps in an attempt to redeem his reputation. He wrote his Antiquities of the Jews in both Aramaic and Greek, and his Against Apion was clearly a defense of the Jews against the anti-Jewish teaching of the Alexandrian schoolmaster. Drawing from his own experiences as well as the knowledge and writings of other historians, Josephus has left us an indispensable library of background material for any serious student of the Bible and the New Testament and the intertestamental period. They provide information on agriculture, geography, politics, religion, social traditions and practices, and insights into outstanding personalities such as Herod, also known as Herod the Great, and Felix. Josephus also refers to John the Baptist and James the Lord, who is Yahushai's brother. Yahushai is who the world calls Jesus Christ. Please call him Yahushai. Josephus also refers to John the Baptist and James the Lord's brother. His well-known reference to Yahushai Antiquities XV and 3, was thought to have been edited, but it remains basically authentic. William Whiston recognized the value of Josephus's writing and the need for an English version. When he began his translation of the works of Josephus, he had already intrigued, if checkered career. He already had an intrigued, if checkered career, a mathematician, a philosopher, a theologian. Whiston had excelled quickly as a young man. He was one of the first to popularize the revolutionary theories of Isaac Newton. And in 1703, there is still some black kingdoms or black monarchs still around. He succeeded in his academic career when his theological studies led him to become a confirmed Arian. Leaving Cambridge, he moved to London and made a modest living as a writer and lecturer in 1737. Whiston published his translation of Josephus, which is still the best English translation ever produced. It remains the most read and best known version of a seminal historical text of the New Testament era, written by a man who was larger than life. That was the introduction. Josephus, the complete works. As we always say on this channel is an educational, historical, family home channel for the so-called black man and so-called black woman. But everybody else can join in and listen and comment. But we are trying to reach the black man and woman, the so-called black man and woman who the Bible, the Old and the New Testament speaks of. Please follow me. The life of Josephus. The family from which I am derived is not an ignoble one, but have descended along from the priests, like I said, from the tribe of Levi, and as a nobility among several people is of a different origin. So with us to be of the sacerdotal dignity as an indication of the splendor of a family. Now I am not only sprung from a sacerdotal family in general, but from the first of the 24 courses, and as among us there is not only a considerable difference between one family of each course and another, I am of the chief family and of that first course, nay, further, by my mother I am of the royal blood, for the children of Asmoneus, from whom that family was derived, had both the office of high priesthood and the dignity of a king for a long time. I will accordingly set down my progenitors in order. My grandfather's father was named Simon or Shimon, with the addition of Pelus. He lived at the same time with that son of Simon, the high priest, who first of all, the high priest was named Hyrcanus. So that I believe that's John Hyrcanus. This Simon Pelus had 9 sons, one of whom was Matthias, called Flavius. He married the daughter of Jonathan the high priest, which Jonathan was the first of the sons of Asmoneus, who was high priest and was the brother of Simon, and the high priest also. This Matthias had a son called Matthias Curtis, and that in the first year of the government of Hyrcanus, his son's name was Joseph or Yawasap, born in the 9th year of the reign of Alexandra. His son Matthias was born in the 9th year of the reign of Archelaus, as was I born to Matthias in the 1st year of the reign of Caius Caesar. I have 3 sons. Hyrcanus, the eldest, was born in the 4th year of the reign of Vespasian, as was Justus, born in the 7th, and Agrippa in the 9th. Thus I have set down the genealogy of my family, as I have found described in the public records, and so bid adieu to those who calumniate me as of a lower original. So Josephus Flavius, just for background, he was born around, or at least his ancestry starts around the period of the Maccabees in the Holy Scriptures. 2. Now my father Matthias was not only eminent on account of his nobility, but had a higher commendation on account of his righteousness, and was in great reputation in Jerusalem, the greatest city we have. I was myself brought up with my brother, whose name was Matthias, for he was my own brother by both mother and father. And I made mighty proficiency in the improvements of my learning, and appeared to have both a great memory and understanding. Moreover, when I was a child and about 14 years of age, I was commanded by all for the love I had to learning, and on which account the high priests and principal men of the city came then frequently to me in order to know my opinion about the accurate understanding of points of the law. And when I was about 16 years old, I had a mind to make trial of the several sects that were among us. These sects are 3. The first is that of the Pharisees, the second that of the Sadducees, and the third that of the Essenes. As we have frequently told you, for I thought that by this means I might choose the best if I were once acquainted with them all. So I contented myself with hard fare, and underwent great difficulties, and went through them all. Nor did I content myself with these trials only, but when I was informed that one whose name was Banus lived in the desert, and used no other clothing than grew upon trees, and had no other food than what grew of its own accord, and bathed himself in cold water frequently, both by night and by day, in order to preserve his chastity, I imitated him in those things, and continued with him 3 years. So when I had accomplished my desires, I returned back to the city, being now 19 years old, and began to conduct myself according to the rules of the sect of the Pharisees, which is of kin sect to the Stoics, as the Greeks call them.